Okay, so we're gonna start recording. I actually did this video once before, but it just didn't work because it didn't record my entire screen. Anyways, so we're gonna start with logging into our Azure lab machine thing, and then we're gonna press that start button. We're gonna wait for that to load up for a little bit, so that might take a second. It's been pretty good about like not timing out on me the past couple of times that I've done this, so hopefully that stays up. We're just gonna wait for this for a little bit. In the meantime, I just have git bash open. Yeah, just gonna have that open alongside. We're gonna wait for it to load, and then we're gonna SSHN and go from there. Okay, so now that it's loaded, I can just SSHN. So just a reminder, you just go here, we go connect by SSH, copy whatever the command is, and then I can paste it here. It's gonna ask for the password. It's just gonna be the same password that we used to create this the very first time. So if for some reason you don't remember or whatever, you can just go reset password as well. And that should walk you through what you need to do to reset it. Okay, so in this case, I'm just gonna talk about how to create a Docker file and then use it to basically run like an image, and you build an image, and then when you create it, it does things for you and it makes things easier, right? It's kind of what you need for your bonus, or like what you need to know for your bonus. I'm going to be installing the same things that we installed in tutorial. So if there's things that you need like more things that you need to make your main run, that's okay. You just have to make sure that you're putting that into your Docker file, right? Right now I actually already have a Docker file created. So I'll show you the tutorial that I used to create the Docker file. There's just a couple that I used kind of thing, right? Yeah, so I first created a directory. So let's just make directory. I just called it Docker because that's what I was testing. But yeah, so now that I have that, I go cd docker. As you can see, that the only thing that I have in here is the Docker file. So if I go vim dockerfile, notice that I'm actually using vim here, and Docker, like our virtual machine, has no issues with it. But when I open up the Docker file, I actually am installing Vim over here, and that's because when you're creating, like over here, I start with this symbol, I think, okay? And so what that is actually, if you go to Docker Hub, it's just like Python's official image, Docker image. And so I'm using one of these ones. You just want to make sure that you're using the right version. So I happen to use 3.9.7, which I think works for me because the thing that I'm going to try to run here is going to be Dr. Hudson's MS startup IPYNB, and so I just have that open over here, and I can see that it was 3.9.7 over here, and so that works for me. So I have that from the Docker Hub, and then I just gave it some, maintainer description labels. Then I also have my working directory set to wherever I am. So my Docker file is saved in /docker. So that's kind of what I did here. And then these are the three things that I wanted to run. So I wanted to install all these libraries that I wanted to use. These are the same libraries that I had you guys install in like that first tutorial. And then I also wanted to actually install Vim because that's the text editor that I use within my terminal very often. The yes y over here is just a response to, because it asks at some point whether you want to install for sure or something like that, and I have to give it y. So if I wanted to say no, I would say yes n. right? It's an interesting command. But yeah, so you can see you can just like run a few commands from here. So you guys can do something similar. And then I'm just gonna quit, but normally you'd right click if you're like WQ, so that's right quit if you're using one. But I'm just gonna quit because I have it saved from before. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna build our Docker image. And so the tutorial that I used to create my Docker file, there's this how to create a Docker file, which has some nice things, and then it tells you how to build it too. So that's the tag for the image. I'm gonna set a tag for it, and then it's just gonna kind of pop up. Yeah. So my command, I also use this. So this is more specific to what we wanted. This is by Adam the Automator. And so like, yeah, some of these aren't relevant, some of these are. Just make sure that you're adapting it to what you need for your program, right? What I actually wanted to get to is here. So we're gonna go docker build -t, and I don't want to name it DS Slim Environment, but I'll name it DS Tutorial. Okay, and we're gonna go dot, and then it's gonna give me some, oh, because I said build instead of build. So this needs to be build. So yeah, for me it runs super fast just because I've run it before, so it's just using stuff that I've used before kind of thing. But for you, it might take long, so you can see that like this is it getting the image, this is it setting all of the labels, this is it making sure that my working directory is fine. This is going to be all of the install stuff, so this takes a really long time. All three of these actually take a while to run the first time you're running it. But yeah, so this is what I have right now. And then if I go docker image ls, you can actually see that I've run this a couple times before, but this is the time that I'm using right now. It says 52 minutes ago, even though I just used it right now, but it's fine. Yeah, it's about 3.05 GB. I think it's probably referring to the Docker file. Okay, it's about 3.05 GB. That's just because of all of the things that it has installed over here. Yeah, and so I'm gonna use, I'm just gonna use this to build now. So let's actually run this. So we're gonna run it using the same thing over here. So I did docker run -it, that's interactive. We're gonna go name. We're gonna give it an environment name. So I'll go with minimal environment still. That makes sense to me. But I'm also gonna call it like 5 or something because I've done this a few times. Oh, didn't finish my command. Okay, we're gonna give it the name of our, so I called it DS tutorial. Okay, and then we're gonna also go bin bash. Okay, so this is gonna make sure that my terminal that it opens up is gonna be a bash one. Okay. It didn't actually run successfully, I believe. So let's see what it's doing. We did -it -name. Okay, DS tutorial should work. Oh, tutorial. There you go. Now it should work. There you go. So it'll look something like this with the root and the /docker. Well, it says /docker for me because that's where it's saved. But yeah. So, you can see that it's empty. What I'm going to do actually is going to just create a IPy notebook. Just a heads up, an IPy notebook thing isn't actually a Python script, so if I can't just do like import numpy in it, which is why I'm just going to run Dr. Hudson's starter. So I just created it, opened it in a new tab, and I'm just going to copy this. You can see that it looks like weirder than normal Python. That's just because technically IPy notebooks are JSON formatted, and so it has like the stuff that we need inside it, and that's all I want to put in here as well. So we're gonna go starter.ipy notebook, insert, and then I'm just gonna copy paste it. So I wonder if I copied it. Let's see. Yep, I did. Okay, and then I'm gonna go right WQ, which is right quit to save it. And then now if I go ls, I have this. One of the things that I actually installed in or fine, I don't have that open anymore, but the Docker file was IPython, and so I'm able to use IPython commands to run it. I believe I just have to do something like this, %run, and then we can go starter.ipynb, something like that. Let's see if this works. It's just saying that these are some warnings that I have. If it works, I'm not gonna give them too much attention, which is fine. Okay, you can see that it downloaded the data, so you can see that it's working. So it got the data, it's processing the data, it's making the model. Oh, and here is what we wanted, accuracy. So you can see that it worked. And yeah, so this is just a quick short tutorial on how to get where you'd want to be. Yeah, and then I'm just going to exit out of here. Just a reminder to close the virtual machine as soon as you're done with it. And yeah. Okay, I hope this helped, and I'll link the tutorials that I use as well. Good luck, guys!